Alright, hello everybody, Resonance here, and today I have something a little bit different for you guys. A lot of you guys have been asking me to do some League of Legends videos for my YouTube page, so today I actually have my first real League of Legends commentary. I have like a couple really old videos of League of Legends on my channel, but this is the first one I've done, I guess, relatively recently, and the first of potentially many to come if you guys like this. But before we begin, I just want to give my usual disclaimer that anything that I do that's not Age of Empires is purely extra content. I'm not, replacing AoE 2 on my channel. As long as there's a substantial demand for Age of Empires 2 content, I'm always going to be doing that. So if you're not interested in League of Legends, that is totally fine. You don't have to watch this video, but if you've got an open mind, give it a look, and you might actually enjoy what you see here. If you're looking to learn a little bit more about League of Legends, then you're in the right place. While I might not be the best player, I am, as of this video, in my Gold 2 promo series yet again. I do watch the pro scene pretty religiously, I guess, and I spend a lot of time, theory crafting and researching this game, so while I might not be the best mechanical player, I do have, I think, enough knowledge that I can help most of you guys learn a little bit of something, I guess, and if not, at least maybe you'll find it entertaining. If you're wondering what this is actually a, 5v5 Summoner's Rift, obviously, the standard map for League of Legends. I'm playing as Swain this game. If you're wondering why my name is Resonance 23 and not 22, I was actually playing on my Smurf for this specific match. I have another account, obviously Resonance 23, instead of, the usual 22. This one's currently in Silver 1. I'm in my promo series to get to Gold 5, actually, and it's reaching the point, my Smurf is climbing so fast, it's almost, becoming as good as my main account, I suppose, but I made the Smurf so I can play with some of my lower tier friends as well as any of you guys with, really no qualms right there. So I guess whenever I start doing, you guys want me to do like League of Legends community streams or whatever, if I ever do that, then I'm more than happy to dual queue with literally anybody on my Smurf. So that's what it's here for, and that's why I made it. Took me a long time to get this thing up to level 30. So I'm sure there's a handful of you guys who are watching this who are like, what the hell is League of Legends, right? I have no idea what this game is. Well, I plan to do, I guess, a couple tutorials on that, but, while this match is starting out, I'll give you guys a pretty brief explanation. Basically, in League of Legends, you guys pick from, basically you play as one character, right? You pick one guy. In this case, I'm playing as the champion Swain, right? So this is me right here. I'm this bird guy, the really old guy, hobbling around on his cane with a bird in his shoulder. There's like 100-ish champions in this game, a little more than 100, and everybody just picks one character, right? And then we all work together as a team in a 5v5 setting, in an effort to, first we have to take on these turrets, as we call them. But in order to do that, these turrets are really strong, right? So what we gotta do is we gotta kill these minions, get some gold, buy some items, level up our character. We got access of 4 different abilities here and a passive ability. Everyone has different abilities, obviously. All the characters work in remarkably different ways, and yeah, basically what we do is we spend an early game in League of Legends, strategically trading hits with our opponent, trying to get some gold from killing these little minions, as we call them. The person who gets the killing blow or last hit gets some gold, and then we use this to spend items, gain experience, improve your abilities, blah, blah, blah. And when we're strong enough, we're going to be trying to take down these turrets right about here. And then the goal of the game is the first team to take out the enemy nexus. So we got this thing right here, that's the enemy nexus. This is ours, is the team that wins. Now, thankfully, League of Legends is getting a visual update relatively soon, which means that, well, we won't have, we'll have a lot better graphics coming here, which I'm very, very excited for. Now, brief disclaimer is that I haven't played Swain, like, seriously in maybe a couple of years, so pardon me if my, it looks like my camera settings are just not working. It's supposed to be following me, but it keeps wanting to go to directed camera, so I'll have to just keep clicking. Anyway, I haven't played Swain in forever, so pardon my abysmal ability to last hit. I normally last hit a little bit better, but maybe I just have to click on Swain himself. I haven't really used Baron Replay much. So yeah, I haven't really played Swain in forever, so pardon my ability to last hit, but this was, I got this really good match on Swain the other day, so I figured, why not, I'll upload this. A bunch of you guys have been asking for some League-related content, and, why am I playing on my Smurf, right? Well, it's because I haven't had much of a chance to play on my main account recently, for ranked games, because my friends keep wanting to play ranked with me, and I'd much rather do that on my Smurf than on my main account. since there's like a huge league difference between us. Most of my friends are like mid-low silver, and I'm like high gold, and I've got the low plat MMR, so the matches can be pretty unforgiving if I play on my main, so I've mostly just been playing on my Smurf here. And there are a lot of things that I do, which I'm going to be explaining throughout this match, that I do when I'm playing on my Smurf to retain such the ridiculous win rate that I have. I think I've lost maybe like 2 games on my Smurf in the last like couple of weeks, and you know what separates me from the, I guess, the rest of the high silver players in the specific match, because these guys are all like silver 1 and gold 5. What are the things that I do to get ahead? Because I'm confident here that I would, like, really, through watching my videos as I continue to do league content over time, is I hope that I can, you know, show all of you guys how to get out of silver. I might not be able to make you the best player in existence, but I should be able to get you at least to my level. I should be able to get you to the top of the gold league. And there are a lot of pretty simple tricks, honestly, that you can do, and I feel that, you know, when I play these games down here, that these players just make a lot of really simple mistakes that if they just didn't do, these are just really tiny habits that they would just climb really, really easily. So, what do I do, for example? And I think that one important distinction here is that when you play ranked, I would say that maybe, at least until you get to the higher tiers, about half of the ranked experience, honestly, is not really about how good of a player you are per se, but what you're doing with your time. And oh yeah, we got a really good gank here. My friend Drew's coming in here. He's playing Vi, and he's coming in here for the gank, trying to sneak up on this Pantheon over here. Almost gets him. Pantheon tries to recall, which is when I see an opportunity here. I missed like 15 last hits because again I can't last hit on Swain. I haven't played him in so long. But you know, it doesn't really matter in this game. Like things like this where I could just work on his practice last hitting on Swain is I still get results anyway. And yeah, this guy here, I try to go on him while he's recalling, and he's like, whoa, Swain's really low on HP, I'm gonna go murder him, but Vi was still there, and little did Pantheon know he would have died anyway if he went on me. So that's just a mechanical thing. You'll learn that from game sense if you're that Pantheon, you know. Now you know that, maybe I can't trade with Swain that easily, and the reason I lived is because I got this cloth armor item here. It gives me plus 15 armor. That means I get to sustain through his harass, so I get to take a little bit less damage from his physical attacks. Pantheon is coming back in here, and he teleported to that minion to try and get me, but he didn't end up getting me here, and I just get to walk away because it's well placed, never move. Now Pantheon here, I don't know if he's like on tilt or something like that, but this is not a good play. He tries to ult in here, and I just get to walk away, and he just gets to waste his ultimate cooldown, which is super duper long, lets him, you know, jump around the map. But with a huge delay, it gives me a little warning sign, shows me that little red circle, like, get the hell out of here before Pantheon comes in and he's just going to man-drop on you. I see that red circle, I get out, and now he just blew his teleport, which has, well, a 300-second cooldown unless you use it on a turret, and he used it on a minion, so, And then this thing, 150-second cooldown on his ultimate, so Pantheon just blew all of his cooldowns. He didn't kill me, I wanted to go back to base anyway. As I was mentioning earlier, now that I have a little bit of spare time, is that I think League, like, half of the ranked experience, maybe, like, before Platinum, is really like a mental exercise. And I think most of it comes from chat. Like, I really strongly believe this, but when I look at a lot of my friends and a lot of the people that I play with that are lower ranked, is you guys spend way too much in chat for the most part, and I was guilty of that too. Like, I started climbing this season when I stopped using chat, really. I've come to terms with this idea that, for the most part, you don't really need chat for too much. And in fact, pings do... I just realized that this is kind of off-center. Yeah, let me just fix that. Anyway, yeah, pings kind of do most of the important communicating in this game, in fact, in that mostly, like, the chat is not particularly useful. You should probably stay out of it. Now, there is a good thing to use the chat for, though, and that's positive feedback. You can't see it because this is a replay, but every single time one of my teammates, like, gets a kill or something like that, I always say, good job, nice one. You know, I try to mix it up so I don't sound like a robot, but, you know, I'm like, good job, nice one, well played, you know, good stuff, man. You know, nice one, nice plays. I always say something really positive in the chat to keep team morale up. Now, what if one of your teammates really sucks and he's just dragging you down? Your jungler ganks your lane, right, and he just dies. You're giving the enemy a kill. It's super bad, right? What are you gonna do? You're gonna call him a noob in chat? No, please control yourself. The thing is that if you have bad teammates, there's two ways to look at it, I think. One, if your teammates are as bad as you think they are, what makes you think that they're actually going to follow your advice or criticism? What makes you think they're actually going to take it well? A lot of people are like, man, I just can't deal with my, my really stupid teammates. And you're like, dude, stop dying, or, dude, buy some armor. Well, honestly, like, they're like, dude, stop ganking my lane, or why do you suck? With stuff like that, I don't know what you expect from them, but if they are as dumb as you think they are, I get a nice kill on Pantheon here. Again, he's just, he's kind of playing a little too ham, doesn't know the limits of his champion. But yeah, if your teammates are actually as dumb as you think they are in your fantasy land, then they're not going to take your criticism very well. So I would not really bother wasting your time with that, wasting your breath. It's just going to make you play until... The other thing is what are you trying to accomplish from raging at your teammates? I don't think you should ever rage in League of Legends. I don't think it's really ever warranted. Because if your teammate is legitimately fucking up, there are two options here. One, he's completely aware of it, and then you just telling him he's bad is just going to make him feel even worse. And then two, he's not aware of it, and he's just going to start flaming you back. And now that your teammate is angry, what have you accomplished? You got to vent a little bit, but now your teammate's pissed, and he's going to be playing on tilt, right? He's going to be playing even worse. So if the point of raging at your teammates is to make them play better, then that seems pretty counterproductive. So when I play, and one of the reasons why I think I climb so quickly on my Smurf account is that I only type positive things in the Twitch chat, or I only type like, let's push middle, or I type in the buff timers, when the next dragon's gonna spawn, but I never type anything negative in chat. It's just purely counterproductive. Like I would never do that. It's not worthwhile. If you want to like give advice to your teammates, I guess one thing to consider is some people just might not want your advice. But if you really wanted to give advice, because sometimes it's kind of necessary to suggest that your team build armor, phrase everything as a suggestion if you want your team to do something. Besides obviously like let's go take Baron, but again you can do that with pings. I'm talking like over chat. So let's say you're your top laner. Let's say I'm dying like crazy, right? To Pantheon. Pantheon is there's two types of damage in League of Legends primarily. Obviously there's more than that, but simplify it. We've got the physical and the magic damage, right? Champions usually deal more of one or the other, and you can build armor or magic resist items to take less damage from those specific sources of damage. Now, I'm aware that there are other types of damage, but this is just a general rule of thumb, because let's say I'm getting wrecked up top lane. Pantheon does all physical damage, so what should I do? I should be building some armor items. Now, if I'm not building any armor... Oh, wait, sorry, one second, guys. I'm getting ganked here. The thing is I look at the minimap, and I see that I don't know where anyone else is, so I start running at just the right time. I know Warwick's going to ult me here. He dodges my snare, which is fine. I get the flash off here. Karthus makes a huge mistake. Again, people just going too ham, and I get to murder him for free. I knew they were closing in on me, so I fled at just the right time, and I'm going to go walk away. But yeah, like, if you're going to try and give your teammates advice, like, oh, Swain, you're getting wrecked, maybe you should build some armor. Phrase everything as a suggestion. For one, don't write, Swain, you're getting wrecked, that's not going to help you, but, write something like, wow, so-and-so top laner, you might want to build some armor, so phrase everything as a suggestion, not a command, but don't be like, build some armor, noob. That's, no one's going to take that very nicely, but if you phrase it as a suggestion, it's a psychological thing. Your teammates would be like, oh, I might want to build some armor? I should build some armor. That was my idea. I'm going to go do that, It's a lot easier on people that way, It's like, oh, maybe you should rush Zhonya's Hourglass. If you say maybe, then people are a little more likely to do that. Now, that's not going to apply all the time. That's just one little trick that you can use to try and, get your team to do what you want, but without putting them on tilt. Because remember, if your teammates are on tilt, then they're going to play really badly. So I'm always trying to keep the team morale up here. Back when I was in Silver, everybody, well, not everybody, but a good chunk of the players were, pretty negative. They would just die, they get really angry, and, well, they would lose the game for no reason because they just went on tilt. And, nowadays I just try to keep the level of tension in the in-game chat as low as I can. I'm always, making jokes, keeping the team morale high. Now, what if your teammates are really getting under your skin? What should you do? Rage back? No, mute your teammates. I am always continually surprised when I guess I hear complaints about people You know, when you think you have to flame your teammates back, I question why you don't just mute them immediately. You know, when I was in, I guess, the depths of Elo hell, as some people call it, which I don't really believe exists, but when you're in the lower tiers and, you know, some people haven't yet realized that raging is not the answer to victory, and in fact it will actually screw you out of victory no matter how good you are, you might as well just mute basically everybody. Again, the chat is just not, it doesn't really serve any purpose besides buff timers, and now that, well, now that the buffs time themselves in this game, chat really serves no purpose other than just raging your teammates. If you want to get your teammates to do something besides, you know, something oddly specific like, you know, yo, you should buy armor, you can just do that with pings. So if you don't want to deal with your teammates and reading their, you know, ragey, toxic messages in the Twitch, sorry, not in the Twitch chat, and just the regular chat, league chat, you know, if that gets you on edge and it, you know, provokes you, you might as well just mute all your teammates at the start of the game. Like, you might as well just do that. It's totally worthwhile. I just talk a little bit about the game itself here, because I'm not going to be talking about, you know, the ranked experience forever. Some things that I do is I'm always keeping a really close eye on the mini-map here while I'm, you know, busy missing, like, every last hit in the game, because I can't last hit on Swain. That's something I should work on, but again, it doesn't really matter, like, in the scheme of things, as I can miss a million last hits in these games. As long as I'm not negatively contributing to my team, I'm not raging at them, you know, I'm not feeding, then that's, you know, I would never play, I guess, Swain on my main, because I think I'd get punished a lot more here, but, you know, this was just a for fun style deal. And I'm still up in CS anyway. Here I'm rotating mid, seeing if there's anything I can do about this fight, which is unfortunately already lost. You may have noticed, I'm 3-0. Like, why am I 3-0, and why are the, you know, members of the enemy team dying so much, including my own team? Why have I not died yet? Why am I doing well? That's because I'm not trying to force plays. Remember when, you know, Karthus tried to tower dive me? You guys remember that, right? That was like a minute ago. That was completely unnecessary. It's all about risk versus reward, guys. This is a huge thing, and I think this is a big problem with many of the guys in lower tiers. And I used to have that problem too. A very good wind wall from Yasuo right here. Blocks the enemy Zenith Blade. Very, very well played. Good reaction time. Is this risk versus reward thing? If you're Karthus, every time you make a decision in League of Legends, or just, you know, in real life, you're making some sort of trade-off here. There's an opportunity cost, I guess you could say. His thing here is, you gotta think, what are the pros and cons? What's the worst possible outcome here when Karthus dive me? He dies. I get a kill. They get nothing. The best possible outcome is he kills me and he dies. Which is, well, not really worth it, because remember there, I was only 2-0, so if he killed me, like, he would not have got, okay, like, if he killed me first, he wouldn't have gotten the shutdown bonus, so. Not only that, but does he really want to die there? Like, how worth it is this? How much are we investing here? He flashed under my turret. It's just not worthwhile. Like, sometimes it's better to just sit back and relax. And, you know, when I go for kills, I only go for kills with a very minimal risk of me dying. Trading yourself for the enemy is usually not a good idea in a less coordinated environment. Because, you know, while there might be 3 people up top lane tower diving me, I can't necessarily trust my team to get an objective off that or whatever, so sometimes it's better just not to trade yourself. I knew the arrow was coming here, so I'm trying to hang on the left side of the wall. They're trying to fight here. Now, notice how I position myself in this fight, is I'm always trying to, you know, keep myself on the edge of this fight. Karthus flashes in, I don't really care, I'm just going to end his life now, and I'm just going to back out here because I know the Karthus ult is coming. I will live this, and I'm going to back out quickly. Now, here's another thing, risk versus reward here. Pantheon's just like, I want this, I want that booty. This is one thirsty Pantheon, and he gets nothing. And he gets me another kill. Not worth it. In a case like this, sometimes you're better just taking what you got, and you don't need to force plays, I guess, if you're not confident in that. It takes practice to know what you can and can't get away with, and if you're not confident that it's, you know, gonna work out, you know, that one was clearly a questionable play, but not to Pantheon, obviously, because he went for it. Sometimes, if you don't think you're gonna get out, is it really worthwhile? Because in that case, again, it's a trade, and it's not a guaranteed trade. The best possible outcome is he's gonna die, and he's gonna kill me. Now, if he killed me, yes, that would have been worth it, because he would have gotten the shutdown bonus, but He didn't need to die there. In fact, they basically won that team fight, and now they're getting caught again at Dragon. But yeah, they basically won that team fight, and well, that just really wasn't worth it. Sometimes you just gotta calm down and not try to force plays. Once you get more comfortable in your champion, you know your limits, then that's fine. But this isn't the first time the Pantheon's gone way, way too ham. One thing that's improved me a lot as a player is every time I die, I always ask myself, I take like a couple minutes to reflect. And I think everybody should do this, is why did I die? Because for the most part when you die, it's gonna be a mistake. It's gonna be a mistake. Sometimes, if you're a support, you died for your team's sins, or, you died so that democracy can survive, but that's not gonna happen that often. Sometimes you do trade your life to save one of your important members of your team, the carry, like as Leona, sometimes you just gotta do that, but for the most part, if you're playing Swain or something like that, if you die, it's probably because you done goofed in some way. And it's a good idea to try and reflect on that every time you die, to try and not repeat that. Now, I actually didn't even know there was a pink word in that bush the entire game, but note to self, I'm gonna check that bush more often in future games. Like, when Pantheon died right there, he should have been like, wow, I went way too deep, I should stop doing that, otherwise I'm gonna make Swain clinically obese. I'm giving him all this free golden experience every time I die to him, and, pretty soon Swain's gonna be so fat, he's gonna be like a giant ball. He's gonna be just rolling around throughout the lanes, rolling over my team like one giant, clinically obese, 500-pound bird. And that's not good. That's not good. Right now, I'm like the most fed guy on my team and a huge powerhouse, and he's really only making it worse. And since he died there from going too ham, remember the last time he went too ham, he blew all of his cooldowns, got nothing out of it. And again, he goes too deep. So when you start dying because you went too deep, I really think it's a good idea to stop doing what killed you and reflect on why you died and change that behavior. A lot of players just get into this habit where you just keep dying non-stop. If you die to that laner, if you die to the enemy champion, stop going in on him. It might not work. Wait until you've got more backup and you're more certain it's going to come out okay. When I play League of Legends, I always try to imagine a bunch of bubbles around champions, and if I had the money for some fancy video editing software, I would show you guys, but I basically try to imagine in my head the range that the enemy champions can do damage. Like, for example, Karthus' Defile, right? Is I try to avoid all these little zones. I imagine these, like it's like a massive Venn diagram, right? I try to imagine these zones, and I try to stay out of them to the best of my abilities, and just kite along the edges of them. Now here I go in for the kill, Warwick is chasing after me, and remember how this happens, guys? Look at these guys right now, they're chasing after me, they're going so deep, and, again, the best possible outcome is that they get me, but they're wasting so much time. They could probably have taken our mid turret off this, they could have done anything, and lo and behold, they don't get it, and is Weedwick gonna die? Nope, he gets out just barely. Because again, I'm not gonna overcommit for this, but guess who's gonna die again? Pantheon, because he goes way too deep. So again, all these kills were really close, and he almost got me, but I am 9-0-1 now, he's 5-7, you don't need to die this much. The score is 27-17 at 23 minutes, and that's an awful lot of action. Kills, when Warwick and Pantheon are chasing after me, kills aren't as important as the objectives. If you can, you should definitely get the turret, you should kill Dragon, you should kill Baron. Killing Swain, I'm not Baron, I'm not that important. And I'm probably going to be more trouble than they're worth. If you're wondering about my skill build, because I know my skill build is a little bit peculiar here, is I've actually been alternating points between W and Q. And the reason behind that is because I thought I was going to need the W for, I wanted the W on a lower cooldown because I thought we needed more roots in the team fight, because really, people just weren't peeling properly. Lucian's died like 3 times. I really felt like we needed more peel, and I didn't really need the Q for kiting purposes. And I wanted the W for a little bit of extra CC, but normally you're gonna definitely want to max Q second, and then the W last, because while the cooldown on the W does go down substantially, the damage and the slow on Q does go up a lot, and the root duration on the W, the snare duration, does not scale per level, so it is the least efficient thing to max. Sometimes I do max it like second if I need it for, wave clear, if I need to clear out the enemy minions, but that's not often, so.
Ashes and dust.
I just thought this game that I needed a lower snare cooldown, but that is not normal. Wondering about my items here, remember I picked up that early armor in lane. Because again, I thought that this is one way that I guess I take advantage of players that aren't careful is if I have, if they don't check my inventory, he didn't see I had the cloth armor in the early game. He thought it could kill me, but I was a little bulkier than he bargained for, so you gotta check your enemy inventory as well. And, when I'm against someone like a high damage threat like Pantheon, then I definitely want to get a cloth armor here. I start with cloth 5 potions, the cloth armor and 5 potions here, because I wanted to out-sustain him. I know Pantheon has pretty bad mana, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to have 5 potions here. I just wanted to wait out all of his spears, just eat them up. They weren't going to do too much damage to me because I had the extra armor to reduce that damage, and I had 5 potions, so I was just waiting for Pantheon to run out of mana, and then I could start going aggressive on him and really, really punish him, so that was the plan there. That's why I started with Cloth 5, and I got to build that into a quick Zanya's Hourglass. I've got all these mana regen items, of course, because I'm going to need those. And again, the enemy team going a little too deep, checking places without wards. Not a necessarily great idea. And even though I've been last hitting like this game, it doesn't really matter too much. I do miss the root just barely on Warwick. We've got a questionable Alistair Pulverize, and again, people going way too deep. Way too deep. People have their tunnel vision on. I don't know why Alistair ulted, and just really want to get Warwick. It's not worth it, guys. It's better to get objectives. I'm securing this blue buff for myself, and I'm just thinking about what is the next plan. The enemy team is doing the right thing here, though, is they're getting Dragon while we're going that Benny Hill style play after Warwick. Definitely not worth it. Definitely not worth it. Look, and people are still chasing after Warwick. You guys are not going to get him. It's not worth it, guys.
Purple team has slain the dragon.
So another dragon for the enemy team, not a huge deal. This game is remarkably close, but again, I haven't died yet because I've been really careful staying out of the enemy, damage zones as I call it. I try to see the game as a bunch of overlapping circles and, like I call them the fuck me zones. Try not to walk in those if you can, unless you're really big. I'm always trying to be really careful and kiting around the edges of the enemy's range. I was trying to position myself very nicely and only take fights I am certain of winning, but again, a lot of this comes with experience, and I think that really you should be able to climb out of silver even if you're mechanically, as bad as a, I don't know, like a blind hamster. You should still be able to climb out of silver as long as you try to maintain a positive influence to your team with the chat. If you never rage, if you're always, saying, well played, good job, you're helping your team out, you should be good. Because I guess there's 2 ways to think about ranked. One of them is, how to carry your team, which I guess I'm sort of doing here. Most of my team is pretty weak. Lucian got the early triple kill, but he is not doing so well anymore. He also especially struggling. Vi very weak as well. There are 2 ways to look at rank. It's either it's either you need to carry your team, or it's how to get carried by your team. Because believe it or not, your team will carry you on multiple occasions, and sometimes people are just not very good at letting their team carry them. If you're just not confident in what you're doing, then just the most important thing you can do is just not die. Is just try and not make your teammates' life any harder. Try and make their job of carrying you pretty easily. If you get put on a role that you're not comfortable with, just play really safe. Stop trying to, tower dive Swain. Please don't tower dive Swain, guys. This is a massive PSA for that. Stop trying to dive Swain. Just play safe. Try not to die, and let your teammates do their thing. Try and avoid the enemy damage zones. And, you'll learn the range of the enemy champions over time. That just comes from experience, honestly. It just comes from experience. In the future, I'll probably do a lot more of these live, because this is a lot easier for me than doing a post commentary. But there were a lot of things I wanted to talk about in this game, because I know a good chunk of my viewer base, and honestly, a huge chunk of the League of Legends community is stuck in the, the lower silver range, and I want to help you guys climb out of that, because I think it's definitely doable. Whether it's helping you guys climb out of that by physically playing with you, or just by doing videos like this, hopefully you find this educational in some way. And if you do, don't forget to leave me a, like rating and a comment. Let me know if you guys enjoy this type of thing, and I'll be doing more of these in the future. Now that I got my Twitch partnership recently, again, thank you guys so much for the support. This has been truly phenomenal. I'm overjoyed, honestly, that I got the partnership. I'm going to be streaming a lot more, and a lot of what I stream is going to be League of Legends, even though my YouTube channel is still primarily Age of Empires focused. I'm going to be doing a lot of League of Legends streaming on there, and my streaming schedule for, things that aren't the, weekly community stream is going to be kind of erratic. So, you know, make sure you just come to my Twitch page frequently. Either you're just following me on Twitch and you're keeping your eyes peeled for those email notifications, or you're just keeping your eyes peeled on my Twitch schedule, because if you go to my Twitch page and you scroll down a little bit below the video player, you'll be able to see my schedule for the next couple of weeks, and I update that like every day. So, while I try to give a couple days notice, sometimes, plans change, so it's hard for me to schedule things too much in advance, but if you keep your eyes peeled, you will be able to keep on top of that. I'd love to have you guys there. 'Cause, yeah, I do play this game a lot. I play it like almost as much as I play Age of Empires 2, as crazy as that is to think. And that's mostly because I really like the competitive aspect of League of Legends. I think this game is incredibly in-depth and is one of the most interesting spectator sports for me to watch as well as play. I'm always continually looking for ways to improve my game, and I'm just studying this game. There's a lot to it, I really do think, and I didn't really see the depth in this game until, I guess, I started getting better. I think, my thing was when I was stuck in Silver last season, I had no idea why I couldn't climb out. Like, I was always, like, fed like crazy, like right now, right? But I would always throw. I didn't really recognize this. Great team fight initiation here from Alistair, but a really well-timed Zanya's here. But Karthus is going to eat this culling. Vi comes in here, and yeah. Pantheon's going into the back line, not a good idea. I'm going to just pick him off. He went in one at a time. The enemy team is just going in one at a time. This is not good, by the way. Try and all go in at the same time if you can. They did not have Warwick, not a good fight. Pantheon should not have ulted in there. Great flash pulverize here, or headbutt pulverize from Alistair. I'm going to focus really hard, pop the Zanya's here. I'm going to kite backwards a little bit as I'm healing up with my ultimate. Pantheon here has an Executioner's Calling. Not quite sure about that, but I guess I kind of understand the thought process, is he does need to debuff my healing, but that item might be cheap, but it's not slot efficient, so not sure if it was a great decision here or not. I don't know what Warwick is doing. Warwick here is high as fuck, and he's just going in 1v4, no teammates to back him up. And again, guys, if you want your teammates to carry you, this is not what you're supposed to do. My teammates, once again, with the tunnel vision here, I have no idea what Vi and Alistair are doing, chasing Warwick. They might be able to get him, but, like, how worth it is it, right? And I'm not super convinced, and Warwick, for some reason, is taking red buff instead of just recalling. I don't know. Either way, chasing people, guys, should not do that. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. But yeah, ranked is a lot about the, I think the attitude thing, and understanding that, you can climb and do pretty well on guys that you're not comfortable with, as long as you're just able to get carried, and in that case, it's just, don't feed. Don't feed. Build defensive items, and you'll be okay. And just don't go ham. If you're not confident in your, ability to make the plays, then let your teammates make plays for you. You don't always have to be the one... making the plays, I guess. I just realized I don't have my in-game music on, do I? I should turn that on for future videos. Yeah, I guess I have that muted. My bad, guys. I'll turn that on for future League videos, even though honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the League of Legends soundtrack. It's alright, but I'm just excited for the Summoner's Rift update, though. It's gonna add in some sick new music and sick new graphics. If you guys are wondering a little bit more about me as a player in League of Legends, I do main the support role, and as I said, I'm in my Gold 2 promo series right now, but I hope to climb a little bit more out when I get some time. I just honestly haven't had time to play too much ranked, which is why it's taken me so long to get a League of Legends video, because, one, Baron replay does not feel like working. There's no official replay thing for League of Legends, at least as of me recording this, and Baron replay is pretty unstable, sometimes just doesn't record. It's taking me forever to get a good game that I can actually record. Leona here going deep once again. We're using this pink word here to bait people out. Risk versus reward again, guys. Leona's coming in here, she's like, I need to get rid of this ward, I need to get, map control so that we can see Baron. And I understand that, but what's the risk versus reward here? The risk is she dies. The reward is she gets vision control on Baron. Not an equivalent trade. Not worthwhile. I always try to imagine things in the worst possible circumstance, and if the possibility of the worst circumstance possible is relatively high, then I'm not going to do it. Enemy team here getting caught, really out of position. They're kind of falling behind, honestly, and they should not be out this deep. Karthus here, really wasting his ultimate, shouldn't do that. He's just doing a lot of free damage, I guess, but if you look at the cooldown of his ultimate, that is not the kind of thing you just want to pop for fun, just to BM people. You know, we killed him, but that doesn't mean you have to press R. That's 152 seconds that we don't have to worry about Karthus. But yeah, you can get carried in League. It's definitely doable. And, okay, I guess another thing, but this is a really, really basic rule in League, which I don't really think that too many of these players have an issue with, but if you're struggling like in your lane and you're getting destroyed, stop building glass. Like, you don't want to build like only damage items unless you're obviously the team's like AD carry, but you can build defensively. If you're playing like trying to think of a good example of this. I'm gonna say like, yeah, if you're playing Swain top, right? Instead of rushing first item death cap or whatever crazy mumbo jumbo you feel like doing, rushing your Leandry's Rod of Ages and whatnot. Let's say you're struggling against Pantheon, which I wasn't, but I did this anyway because I like to play safe. Maybe you should build an armor item. Maybe you should get that early Zanya's Hourglass. If you're mid lane against Talon, Talon is owning you. Rush that Zanya's Hourglass. No point in rushing, your Athenes on Holy Grail for magic resist when you're laning against Talon, right? It's physical damage. Pantheon here, once again, the risk versus reward, although I would say that one was a little more worthwhile if, well, he was the jungler and he had Smite. This is another way to look at it. The risk versus reward in this situation for Pantheon is that he goes in, if he steals Baron, it's so worth it if he dies. The problem is that the odds of him stealing Baron are almost zero. He has no smite. And he's not AP Pantheon, so his ult doesn't do that much damage, right? So even though the risk versus reward here is totally equivalent, and if things turn out right and he stole Baron, that would have been oh so worthwhile, but the odds of him actually stealing Baron were almost nothing, so I wouldn't go for that. So don't go for unfair trades. Don't when the risk is greater than the reward, don't do it. Whether the risk is greater in severity or just the odds of it are really, really high. And in this case, well, the odds of him failing were, like 99%. So even though it would have been worthwhile if he succeeded, he really honestly would have had a better chance being struck by lightning. And in Pantheon's case, I guess this is a good example, is really, did he really need the Zephyr? Like, how squishy is it? How easy to kill is this man at this point? He has 11 deaths. He's the most deaths on his team. He's dying non-stop. And, why? Well, because I am eating him for breakfast. I'm turning him to worms, and I'm gobbling him up. And, well, if he just built a Hex Drinker, or like a Banshee's Veil or something like that, he would stop dying. Once again, he goes a little too deep, very thirsty, and dies. So again, unless you're the team's AD carry, you can't really afford to build damage that much. For one place safer, you really don't have too much of an excuse to die to your enemy laner non-stop. It's okay to miss, miss some of those minion kills, miss some of that CS, delicious, delicious minion gold. It's okay, it's okay. As long as you don't die and just snowball the game further and further. And sometimes it's a good idea to just build defensive items. Obviously, you don't want to see Ashe with the Thornmail first item. That's just because she's one of those, marksman / AD carry type classes, and just defensive items are not the kind of thing you want to rush on them. But if you're Pantheon, like, it's okay to build first item Hex Drinker. In fact, it might be recommended in this matchup. And sure, if you want your Black Cleaver, that's fine and dandy, but does he really need these many damage items? If he looks at it, it's not paying off, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Is there are smart decisions on what they can buy. And I think Leona definitely needs to lock it here. We're going for a nice little team fight here. Notice how nobody's focusing me down. I have no idea why not. Pantheon bought the Executioner's Calling, and he waited until, like, halfway. The fight was, like, half over before he finally applied that to me. The healing debuff, so I wouldn't heal so much with my ultimate. I don't know why. They didn't focus me down, but they definitely paid the price there as I got to eat up 4 of them. And Weedwick is coming back in, and, well, he's going to go run away because, again, he can't do anything because Warwick has no ability to kill minions. And, yeah, this is basically how you win a game, is I'm always trying to be a positive influence for the team, and I'm just being super duper careful. I'm making the plays when it counts, and I'm not trying to take any stupid unnecessary risks. I'm also building the items that I need. I got the quick Zanya's Hourglass because I knew that, they have a lot of, Pantheon is a huge damage threat to me, even if he's really behind. This guy's building a lot of damage. I have to be able to survive. And since I know I'm so fed that if the enemy team wants to focus me, I need the Zanya's Hourglass to give myself a little breathing room and to heal back up. Rod of Ages, for the health and mana, very, very balanced. The Athenes, to deal with Karthus. Warwick does magic damage. Leona does some good magic damage as well, so I needed a bit of magic resist cooldown reduction in there. And yeah, I'm just building items to meet my needs, not taking unnecessary risks, trying to be a positive influence to the game. And I guess another thing is, Generally speaking, is you want to make sure that you practice what you play before you go into ranked. I mean, I'm not like I didn't play Swain that much, but you don't want to play, the new champion on the day of when you jump into ranked unless you're pretty confident. I mean, I got away with it here just because even though I'm rusty enough and I can't last it, I used to play Swain a lot, so I should be able to do that. But make sure you pick your matchups carefully and everything like that. I was pretty confident in my ability to play Swain versus Pantheon. Pantheon did pick first before me on the enemy team, so I knew it was going to be Pantheon top because I saw the Warwick pick as well. And my thought, I had this all planned from the start. I'm running runes that give me a lot of extra flat armor as well, because again, I know the Pantheon's going to be a problem. I start with a Cloth 5, because like I said, I know the Pantheon has bad mana issues, and I just want to survive through that spear harass, and then, start punishing him back. And I ended up snowballing off this game because I was playing safe, and the enemy team went just a little bit too ham, and we got to punish him for that. I was just careful positioning. So I hope you guys found this this match both entertaining and helpful in some way or the other. If you guys are enjoying this type of thing, then I will definitely do more of these in the future. So yeah, thank you so much for the support as always, guys. I guess this is my first real League of Legends video for this channel. If you enjoyed it, please do leave me a like rating. It helps me out so much. And yeah, I'd love to see plenty of you at my live stream, so links to that in the video description below. Thank you so much for the support as always, guys, and for watching this video. It's a pleasure to interact with all of you, and I hope that this Swain video helped you all out a little bit. If you have any questions about Swain or anything, or just League of Legends in general, feel free to post a video comment, and I'll answer it to the best of my abilities. Alright, guys, I'll see you all next time. Thank you for watching. GG, well played.